Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Right, so let's carry on with Crybaby and start to take a look at the bridges. So, Brian, I've seen him do this two ways, sometimes sort of strumming more, you know, chordal style with the pick, or more of a kind of finger style. So, here we'll just kind of look at, like the basic chords and just how we might kind of play through that more with the pick. And for the more finger style, we'll kind of incorporate that into one of the Rockabilly finger picking classes. It makes more sense that way, really, just to get these chords in the beginning just under your fingers. So if you kind of remember like the options we have for the riff, the main riff, so you know, depending on where we end, we finish the riff there, we've got that kind of three we do on the E, B and G. We finish it early, we can do those pull-offs on 4 strings. Now it's good to do that one because Brian will often, at least on the record, and there's a lot of live versions, he'll go to this bar A. So the bridge starts with this A major. But really, if we're going to do these, it's better to miss out that where we do that 4th one just to give us that space to move up to this. You will see Brian many times though play the 4 pull-offs and just go to an A because he's in position there. So that's, you know, obviously a used option as well. You know, he uses that all the time. But I kind of like, you know, the way this bar A rings out. So like I say, rather than doing the 4th pull-off, set of pull-offs, we'll use that space to move up. So we've got an A major. And we'll kind of do this, you know, where really kind of, you know, the 6th, 5th, 4th and 3rd strings, that kind of thing. Maybe push down a little more. Maybe each time we move, sort of strike through the chord. So we're starting off with just an A major. Move that down a semitone. Turn it, take a little finger off, make that into a 7th. That could be an A flat major or G sharp major, depends how you want to look at that. Then C sharp minor, back to the G sharp 7, back to C sharp minor. So you can kind of hear, you know, what he'd be singing with the melody, so just kind of follow that. To be honest, then actually instinctively, as I was changing, I didn't sort of strike, you know, strike through those chords. You know, on the record, there's a lot of overdubs, and you know, live that gives us a lot of options, live or just playing along with the record at home or wherever you are. You know, the thing is just to try and be dynamic with it. So now here on the record, there is like these kind of overdubs, and we've got the C sharp minor up there, or our C sharp minor here up here at the 9th. Now usually these days, you know, Brian will kind of just jump to this position, and he does this kind of little finger style. So and you know, he'll kind of, you know, with fingers and thumb kind of, you know, scoop in just to get sort of, just to sort of slide the chord up. You know, I'm just playing on the D, G and B, and then as we reach to that, I just had to kind of come up with my finger and catch the first string. And he's going to kind of bounce between. So as I hit that high E, I play the G string, then the B string, then the D, kind of alternating. And sometimes he might even kind of, what we say, you know, ghost those kind of bounce notes and just really a bit of a bounce on the right hand, and on the record there's more kind of like this note from the C sharp minor, the high E. But yeah, like I say, live, two fingers there. We'll try and sort of break this down a bit more and look at some more concrete examples. Real, you know, in like the finger picking sort of lesson for this. The thing is with this is just to really kind of hit that. You know, like I always kind of say, that getting a kind of rhythmical authenticity with these things is much more important than. You know, kind of some note-for-note recreation. That's all well and good, as long as you're transmitting a kind of sincere energy in the way you're sort of, rather than just sort of struggling to play note for note just for the sake of it. So as we finish that, we go back to the A major, G sharp 7 again. This time C sharp minor, and then C sharp minor 7. Now we're going to this F sharp 7, but he kind of passes, he gets there by passing through this G sharp 7 again. Sometimes he'll play it just as a G sharp minor 7. Sometimes, because I've seen him hammer on that finger, it'll be like a G sharp 7. It's really just to get this a little bit of kind of, I guess, harmonic movement in the sound, just to move to there, rather than just always. It's a thing Brian does a lot when he'll be kind of here, and it doesn't have to make a difference sometimes. Really, you know, you kind of feel it more than hear it. Then we go into this kind of picked sixth idea. So I'm just using thumb and first finger, not really sliding from anywhere in particular, just on the G string up to the 8th on the G. And although I'm fretting the high E and the B at the 7th, I'm really just kind of coming up with my finger and just trying to catch the first string. And same thing, but 2 frets down this time. What kind of looks like, you know, a little bit of an A major. But the bass is still playing. This is kind of over B. It's got this kind of sound of it's like an A major, but with the B in the bass, or I'm not sure if they're 11th chords, like a B 11th. It's a typical kind of idea for Brian. He'll sort of usually play it. Oops. You imagine just that, our little A major triad. We'll just swap this finger, put this on the B in the bass at the 7th, and now we'll just use our little finger where our 3rd finger was. So sometimes rather than just this like traditional dominant seventh. Got a nice little sort of ring to it, the way it can turn around. Brennan uses that in things like "I Won't Stand in Your Way." Where would he use it? Ah, yeah, again, as like a B. You know. So, this time the same again, up to like an E major. We're sliding up to the 13th and then coming up, sort of barring the 12th on the high E and the B. And I don't think it's on the record, but live all the time as Brian goes up to this. Bit of a dip on the bar. And move down 2 frets, do it on the D. Now just alternating between the G string and the high E. He seems to lift his second finger as well. Again on the E, same and then back to the D version. And that's that same idea again with this B, although it looks like we're going from E major to D. We still got that kind of E, you know, note sort of holding the. Now on the record there's this kind of like, I don't know, kind of sort of sliding up into this kind of E bar, you know, bar E7 up at the 12th fret, bit of an upstroke and sliding it down. But live, you know, he'll just just back into the kind of regular stuff. So that's like the bridge the first time round. So the second time it's basically the same, you know, we're coming out of the guitar solo. So I did this, you know, kind of any kind of lick, yeah. So again, we do this. Sliding up to the 8th on the G, coming up on the E string, although I'm barring on the E and the B at the 7th. Oops. Same again, down 2 frets. Now this time, this kind of little descending blues idea. So I'm going to slide in from the 3rd fret to the 4th on the G and the high E. Now I think on the record he doesn't come down using this passing sort of idea at the 3rd fret, so. But live he's always doing that, so. You could play them separate. And down at the 2nd fret on the G and the E. Or play them all. Leads to this kind of B augmented. There's a B9. Little finger on the 3rd fret of the high E. But Brennan doesn't play that there, he just plays this, the double stop, the bass. He's playing that sort of root, so Brian just kind of gives it a bit of a crunchy double stop. Oh, a typical thing there, but over this B. Comes across like this augmented, so 2nd fret on the B string, 3rd on the E. A little bit of a bend. Back into the last verse. So, so that's, one of those things that, kind of tricky to kind of get, sometimes jumping from a little bit of fingers to, keeping it a kind of consistent and not too heavy, when Brian does these things. There's a lot of kind of bouncing with both hands, not playing too hard and really... Right, so give that a try, folks, and yeah, we'll sort of look into this in a bit more detail. There's a lot of nice little ideas we can now sort of expand what kind of finger style, and finger picking ideas, and also from the live version and the record, a lot of great little sort of fills and licks and solos. So we'll start to break some of them down. Right, we'll take care and have fun. Cheers, and I'll see you next time.